Hello everybody, welcome to another speedrun game with the black pieces against Geo, rated 1494, 1500 rated player. My opponent left the game. Okay, he's back. Okay, he plays e3. I don't have any theory prepared against this, so center. I can't play e5, right? But I can play c5. Because if he takes the e5 pawn, I may not ever get that back, but if he takes the c5 pawn, I'm definitely going to get that back. So now I could go e5, that he relinquished control. Let's do that, and we attack the pawn. Now, maybe he tries to hold on to it. Otherwise, you really shouldn't take because you give up the center. But if you can get a pawn out of it, maybe. So he gives a check. If I block with the bishop, I hang my d-pawn. Let's block with the knight. He takes the knight, but this forces us to strengthen our center, and we're threatening the pawn. He chooses to hang on to the pawn. Can he? a5 should be the first move you calculate, and then you have to see. If he takes this way, boom, boom, his rook hangs. So, if he protects this way, boom, boom. Okay, he hangs on, but your rook is open. That's good. So let's definitely throw it in just at least for the rook development portion. He does defend. Fine. Now when we go bishop a6 in the future, it's the back of our pawn on front. It's a nice diagonal. He doesn't have a light square bishop. It looks quite bad for him. I don't want to take immediately and give his knight a good square. So I'm going to hold off on that. What else can I do? I could develop my bishop the other way, but I'm unsure. I could develop my knight. I also could gain further space. Queen check, g6. Further space. He's kind of passive. I think I'm going to go for the, ambitious center. Possibly over ambitious. We'll see what the engine says. And then we'll see. He goes a3, but I have no intention of winning back my pawn. I gave up that pawn. He'll have a queenside majority. I'll have a central majority. And takes. He's fine. His bishop goes here. I don't want to do that. Let's develop. Okay, so now his bishop goes here. His pieces are neither here nor there. Moves like this. I don't even really want his bishop because it's blocked in at the moment. I want to continue developing. Still not sure if I want to use this diagonal for my bishop. It looks kind of spicy, especially if he goes here. He can't maybe castle. So I'm going to hold up on doing the natural, bishop e6 type thing. Let's get castled. Let's do this guy. Oh, wait. Should I have fiend kettled that? I don't know. This should be fine. Okay, he attacks my pawn. I don't want to push and give him central squares. So ideally, I defend that pawn with a developing move. Let's do it with the queen, as we don't really have a choice. Plus, the queen likes this square. Okay, he castles, but we castle. And look at this center. Okay, he's up a pawn. Sure. But I would rather be black here. White's going to find it very hard to play with such development. Running into pawn pushes. I don't know. Like I said, you're up a pawn, but who cares? Now if it reaches an endgame, maybe that pawn will be a win condition for him. So if he can neutralize all of my ideas and trade all the pieces, maybe he can go for that. In the meantime, he has to figure out these minor pieces. Does he play c5 to get the knight out? It does hang a pawn, but I don't even take it. Do I take it? Probably not. I don't want it. Although, well, hopefully he doesn't find c4 and I don't have to think about it. Probably just push. Okay, he does just a normal move because he doesn't know what to do. Now that he's already castled and he's taking away these squares, bishop a6 makes a lot of sense, slicing through the diagonal with a threat. I quite like that. Let's do that. Granted, you don't have the sack here anymore, but that's fine. You can always maybe place it here one day if it's good. Plus, you might forget about it because it's a sniper bishop. I have a good mind to just go king h8, rook g8, and push the pawn. But that's a little loose, admittedly. Maybe king h8 anyway, just a prophylaxis, but my light squares are a bit loose on the left half of the board. I could improve my knight. What does he do? Go back home? Oh yeah, he should have like tried to fianchetto this. Put the knight here, play c5. So he kind of tangled his pieces up, which is giving me a lot of extra time to do what I want. Which is why I can play kind of so ambitiously. So now I just improved my knight, opened up some stuff. See what I want to do next. Maybe rook lift, right? It's possible, because he's kind of stuck. Whenever the center's stuck and he can't push, I mean, his only push is this. Oh yeah, I forgot my bishop's here. When was I talking about that? I was saying I don't want to take, but I don't want to take with the pawn. I do want to take with the bishop. He goes here, which maybe he wants to here. Takes, takes, takes. That doesn't work. Also hangs this. If I take and he takes, that frees up his pieces, so we don't want to do that. So it's kind of a waste of a turn, which we like. I forgot what my plan was. Oh yeah, rook lift. Yeah, I'm gonna go for the rook lift. I kind of like it. Just I'll put it on like g6. Oh, that hangs a knight. He thought that my bishop isn't covering, but this was such a good game. You know, I was having to think of like, okay, how am I gonna reach him, his king and stuff? But then he hangs a piece. He goes for this, but that hangs the pawn because it uncovered an attack. Now that hangs another piece. In the same spot, in the same way. Didn't you learn? Didn't you learn from your last move? It literally was like one move ago, and he copied the exact same thing. I'm curious with the engine, because I came up with some weird ideas that looked interesting, possibly good, but unsure. Okay, so here obviously is fine for black, and I went for the ambitious 2 pawns forward. Which allows him to defend his pawn as he did in the game. So 91%, just a couple inaccuracies, no big deal. So we blocked, he took, we took. So this is just playable from both sides. A5, queen g5. I forgot about. That would have been a really annoying move for him to deal with. Oh yeah, I was I was too busy trying to take a gigantic center. So what are the other moves? Bishop a6, knight f6, and queen out. Queen out should be the most obvious one because it comes with a nice threat. Bishop a6 does look really pretty, as I mentioned a few times. And knight f6 is the standard developing move. I go for the extremely ambitious one. That's a little bit loose, admittedly, but he's playing slow, so you could do this. Okay, we develop. And then this move kind of just ruined his development. He should have fianchettoed it. And it goes from playable from both sides, you know, normal game, to black's positionally better. And it's funny because they want the immediate g5. okay, you have other moves, but one of the possibilities is g5 because if he develops his knight, you have the maybe not instant g4. Wait a second. I see. Okay, so this does. Yeah, the idea is to play g4 in the future. You defend your pawns first. You gain all that space, and it's just much better for black, even though it looks a little loose. What did I play? I just developed. Okay. Then I didn't castle yet. So castle, he takes your pawn. What's your move? Queen c7 then, he goes back. Okay, so they want you to even hang the pawn, and they say you're minus 1.5, but it seems unnecessary. It's not like you have such dynamic play you need to hang the pawn, right? Just defend the pawn. And now they want c4 from him, which is what I mentioned in the game. I don't remember when I mentioned it, if I had bishop a6 or not, but yeah, I was more worried about it if he plays it. Like if I don't have bishop a6, I don't want him to play it because that frees up the c3 square for his pieces, and I don't really want to mess up my pawns and stuff. But with bishop a6, I'll gladly take it. But he didn't play it, which is really good for me because it was one opportunity since I don't have bishop a6. So now that he castled, I still didn't play bishop a6, which was a move, as is castling, but I feel like in hindsight, bishop a6 I like better just to prevent the c4 idea. So I castle, he misses c4 again, which is his best shot at just being -1. You know, but what happens is you push this pawn, but then you get your pieces out, so it becomes much more playable, and you can actually go back and forth, and you can make a game of it, whether you're down a pawn or not. So it's kind of important that even if he's -1 by doing it, that you still do it. But you know, it is a more advanced concept, so just sacking the pawn like that, so it's understandable. He doesn't go for it. Now bishop a6 comes, and once that happens, they still want c4, just hanging it just to free up the pieces. But now it's a much better version for black because he could just take with the bishop. We improve a piece. I wasn't exactly sure what to do here, so I just improved my piece in the center, which is the best move. The alternatives are putting one of your rooks to the center. It's interesting, they say the rook's to the E file, but they don't mention the D file, even though that's where his queen is. His queen's likely to vacate. Also, this pawn never needs protection, whereas this one does. Okay. Anyway, we jump in the center, and he wastes a bunch of time. Again, here I wasn't entirely sure, but I decided on the rook lift. You're -2 with bishop f6, which defends the pawn and frees up the queen, solidifies your position, prepares future, g5 expansion and stuff. I was looking at knight takes f2, but I couldn't find the follow-up. What's the follow-up? e4 only move. Because if you have this. So even if he goes into the center, you give the check, g3, you can take it. Okay, that's a little... I didn't look that deep. I just looked for like a cleaner continuation. I didn't find it. So I rook lifted. Still, his best move is always going to be c4 because of how badly coordinated his pieces are without it. Which I mentioned many times how, they're not in harmony. And then he just blunders. It was still a playable game. I mean, okay, I would have had pressure on his king. Practically speaking, a club player is going to fall to such an attack, but he could have tried and played it. But he just hung everything. And that's it. Just relatively straightforward and solid game. In hindsight, if I were to replay the game, I love being ambitious with the pawns in the center. Sometimes it's not the best because he can easily attack that center. It's not. It's very loose. So you have to play super dynamic, super tactical, which is fine, and that's why I go for it. But you can also land yourself in trouble too. Maybe, I think just here, instead of f5, I mean, I do like it, but queen g5 it's just so easy because you can't really solve this in a convenient way. You don't have a light square bishop, so you're kind of, even if the engine says, it's playable, good luck. So, anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this game. I will see you in the next one.